And if I think about my own legacy, like the legacy of the path or Dina Kaplan, my own legacy, it is reaching people with impact and bringing mindfulness, meditation, these Buddhist concepts to them in a way that it shifts them. And by doing so, they don't need to teach all the people in their world. They can just, as the Buddha said, be their own guiding light, and that will inspire and impact all of the people around them.
Dina Kaplan is founder of The Path, which teaches meditation for the modern mind. The Path has taught thousands of people to meditate around the world. In today's conversation, Dina and I talk about her story, what led her from being a burned out tech entrepreneur to pause, step back, and discover meditation for herself, and ultimately to start bringing meditation to the mainstream. Beyond that, we talk about meditation, its benefits, and also in the middle part, Dina is guiding us in a short but very powerful meditation. So don't skip that. So without further ado, Dina Kaplan. How did you end up on this path that you're on?
Yeah, it's a bit of a story that's a little bit non-obvious. And first of all, thank you for letting me speak with you and your community. It's an honor. So I thank you for that. And yes, I was helping to run a tech company that I had co-founded in the web video space. And basically, I was really stressed. Like, can you relate? Can anyone in your community out there listening or watching us, can you relate?
Of course. I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. I had a stressful job, that's true, but I mostly figured out how to do that. What was really, really stressful was bringing my whole self to that, finding or trying to find the confidence to be myself in that role. So I was a tech founder at a time that there were not a lot of women tech founders. In fact, there were none that I knew of in the US except one woman in San Francisco who I didn't get to chat with very much. And so I had no role models to look up to, and I lost myself. I basically lost my personality. I started suppressing my natural instincts. I suspect a lot of you watching, listening to this right now might relate to this. Your story might not be exactly mine, but we can relate to this idea of not knowing how to be you in your role at work. I'm very warm, I'm funny, or I try to be quirky. I'm me. And then I'm a girl kind of in the stereotype side. So if something goes wrong, I might want to cry or I might get upset. And my co-founders and the other people at the company who are mostly men were like, what? There's no crying at startups, sort of like a league of their own, no crying in baseball. And so I just slowly over time learned how to suppress all my natural instincts. And I was kind of this robot doing the role of what I thought a founder or a senior executive at a tech company should be. And that ended up resulting into a physical manifestation of panic attacks. And I don't know if you've ever had one, but for me, it was like a tingling sensation at the top of my head. It would shoot down through me and I would feel like I was about to faint. And so I lived in absolute terror of passing out on an intersection crossing the street in New York. It ended up meaning I couldn't walk anywhere on my own. I couldn't take the subway on my own. Yeah, I was like a prisoner in the body of this person who looked super glamorous and great from the outside and was an absolute mess on the inside.
Wow. So you basically were creating a role, an avatar in a way which wasn't really you, which didn't serve you, and that created a dissonance. Wow.
Well, just to follow up on what you're saying, you're exactly right. I was playing a role that everything was okay when it really wasn't. And I was held up as this role model for women founders and founders overall. But yeah, the whole time I was playing a role and that role was not being me. So basically one day I'm across the street from my office and I just have to cross the street to get there, a short walk. And I just knew that I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it to the other side by myself. And, all of this kind of glamorous life I was leading, helping to run this tech company, speaking at conferences, literally every day, in the press every day, all of that was not worth me not being healthy enough to cross the street. And I had this intuition that said, you've got to get out of here. You've got to lead the opposite life. in the opposite part of the world, and you've got to act right away. And that was it. I left the company. I had co-founded, had raised tens of millions of dollars for, took a 2.5-year trip around the world, and ended up, basically, it's this longer story, but I'll truncate it by saying I kind of followed a guy when I landed in India one day who invited me on a retreat. I thought he was asking me on a date. Turns out he was asking me to join him on a 12-day silent, gender-segregated Vipassana meditation retreat in India. And that was actually how I started meditating. It was quite a way to begin, meditating 10 hours a day, not allowed to read, write, really do anything except for take like very short walks to the meditation hall, eat, sleep, wash clothes, and meditate 10 hours a day. And basically on that retreat, I had another big insight that said, this is going to change my life. And everyone should have the chance to do this, but it doesn't need to be this hard. And this voice of intuition came through me that said, when you're ready to go back to the United States, you'll start a company. You'll be part of the movement that brings meditation to the mainstream, and you'll call the company The Path. And I thought, oh my God, like the one thing I never wanted to do. Yeah, the one thing I never wanted to do again was start a company. And then I thought, how am I going to get that URL, The Path? That sounds really hard to get.
Wow. Okay. So that's how it came all about. Very interesting. And it's, I mean, it's quite a hardcore entry, from the whole busy tech world, and then like right away meditating 10 hours, basically meditating all day long, and doing the Vipassana retreat, thrown into cold water.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, yeah, it was, I didn't even mention this. It was 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so 40 degrees Celsius, maybe, yeah, about 110, 40 degrees Celsius, no air conditioning. I literally thought I was going to die. I mean, the conditions were beyond. And actually, that is the reason that one of the main things that we do at The Path, we have a big meditation teacher training program, which I love. I'm actually teaching it tonight, so I'm excited. Yay. But we also host basically the opposite of that retreat. We bring in two of the best teachers in the world. So we hold to these ancient Buddhist meditation techniques. We're not making anything up, teaching this beautiful wisdom that has helped people move from suffering to happiness and freedom for 2,600 years. So it works. But we do it in beautiful places, because I thought this retreat is so impactful. But a lot of the people that I know from the tech world, the people in journalism, the investors, like this whole ecosystem of the digital media world, not everyone's going to go on a 12-day silent retreat with no soap, no toilet paper, and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So what if I create a retreat that's beautiful? So Mela is at 5-star resorts. The next one is actually at a beautiful resort in Mexico. I'd love to invite you and people in your community to join us. So it's beautiful surroundings. So toilet paper, air conditioning, even a breeze that we didn't have, and the ancient techniques. And so that's called Mela, and I love it. So if anyone is interested, actually, you can just email me at sit, like another word for meditate, sit@thepath.com, or thepath.com/Mela apply. You can just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll share more about Mela.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what's, I mean, I get it. It came through this, the path, the idea, the vision came through this insight you had. Can you elaborate more on that? What's the vision? What's the real, I mean, yeah, you want to bring toilet paper to meditations, and and get other people who are maybe a little bit averse to the whole rural classical concept of meditating and meditation retreats. You want to like encourage these people to do so, but what's your vision, the bigger vision behind that mission of The Path?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think that meditation it can be fun. Like, we have this image that a meditator or a group of meditators are these stern monks and shaved heads, and they look a little bit somber, like they're working hard. They're training their minds, but it might feel a little intimidating to some people, not to everyone, but to some people. So The Path is about making meditation fun, doing it in beautiful places, surrounding you with awesome people so you meet other fellow meditators. And the path is super diverse. So these people might not look like you. They might not have the same background as you, but they're freaking awesome. Like they're there because they want to become a better version of themselves. And they want to show up for the other people in their lives as being kind and friendly and warm and empathetic. So yeah, at our events, people literally, they might meet their husbands or wives, like their spouses. People also literally meet their best friends and business partners because we're like-minded people, that we're all people that are mostly leaning in on our careers, or like some impact. It could be involved in a nonprofit or government, whatever it is, but wanting to have impact and also wanting to bring a better version of ourselves to the world. So that's the vision. And then the other part of it is, I guess, two other things. One, the importance of community. The Buddha spoke about the three jewels of Buddhism. So the first is the Buddha, which could be the Buddha himself, or it could be you, it could be me, it could be any teacher in the world, Matthew Ricard, Sharon Salzberg. There's so many extraordinary teachers out there in the world. Or it could just be your child or a parent, anyone that you learn from. The second is the Dharma, which is what we'll talk about, I'm sure, a bit today, like this path from suffering or dissatisfaction towards freedom and liberation, which we can all take. Yes, even you out there, everyone out there. But the third is the Sangha. And I think that this can be missing in a lot of meditation communities. And so with the path, we really want to bring everyone, and we bring everyone into a Sangha. And like I said, it's very diverse. So the people might not look like you, they might not sound like you, but they are like-minded. And so extraordinary things come of the Sangha that we create. And then the third thing that I'll point to is that I come from a world, so before co-founding Blip, my tech company, I worked in politics, I worked in music, I worked in all these different industries. And I've been very fortunate to meet a lot of incredible people, many of whom have really big impact. It might be big impact through their family, their friends, their neighborhood, their community, or it could be someone that runs a record label or a film set or a tech company or is a partner in an investment firm, whatever it is, or running a nonprofit, involved in a nonprofit. So we have all of these people with impact in our communities. And if I think about my own legacy, like the legacy of the path or Dina Kaplan, my own legacy, it is reaching people with impact and bringing mindfulness, meditation, these Buddhist concepts to them in a way that it shifts them. And by doing so, they don't need to teach all the people in their world. They can just, as the Buddha said, be their own guiding light, and that will inspire and impact all of the people around them. So I love how much impact we have. We have this extraordinary teacher training program that I'm teaching tonight. So we train and certify people to become meditation teachers. We even had the founder and CEO of Casper, that great mattress company. He came through the program. He's certified as a meditation teacher. And I don't know if he's been guiding people at Casper, but he's been leading people in a men's group that he's in. How friggin' awesome is that? And he's just having this impact with everyone around him. So we've had a number of founders go through that program, therapists, coaches, I mean, even people that go through it that want to bring mindfulness to a child, like they're pregnant and they want to bring meditation to their child or to an elderly parent. So just think about impact, and the path has huge impact. And that is just incredibly motivating and gratifying for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, a similar path. That's why I'm doing this podcast as well. Like, I want to bring this mindfulness, meditation, spirituality, and the business world together, and science as well. I have all of the backgrounds myself, so and that's sometimes a bit of a challenging path, to stick with that word. How do you like? How do you encounter this? Do you see there's a lot of preconceptions around spirituality and in the business world, or how do you personally encounter that, or how do you encounter that even with the path?
Yeah, it's a great question. It used to be that people would say, oh, you know what, that's just not for me. And now it's kind of gone so far to the other side where meditation is so mainstream that the people that kind of just want to be counter to the conventional wisdom, which I respect, just say something like, I meditate when I run, or I meditate when I walk, or, I don't want to do that kind of new age thing that they've heard about that is clearly, they just kind of want to buck the system, like go against that conventional wisdom. So I find it very powerful to actually just say, okay, great. and let them come when they're ready. It's very powerful because I think people are ready for me to fight them on it, and I won't. In fact, the Buddha would speak about this, and I certainly talk about this a lot in our teacher training program. Our job as meditators and people on our path, on the Buddha's path, is not to go around and tell everyone what to do. We do it only when, to quote the great teacher Tom Knowles, only when there's worthy inquiry. So when someone asks us a question or says, I want to come on retreat, or I want to join the teacher training or join a meditation, then you can give them the wisdom. Otherwise, I don't think people are going to input it. I don't think you want to force it on people. But in terms of making it relevant, especially for people in business, finance, that's definitely our specialty at the Path. You can talk about training the mind. That's really what we're doing. Just like actually right before talking to you, I went to the gym, I ran, I did some weights, I did some yoga, and that's all about toning the body, making my body feel really good. Meditation is about toning the brain, toning the mind. And so why would let's say someone does a yoga class for 90 minutes every now and then. Why would you do 90 minutes dedicated to yoga, and then maybe it's 15 minutes to get there and back and take a shower, and not 1 minute on your mind? Like you can find 5 minutes, you can find 4 minutes to work on your mind. So I talk about training the mind. I talk about honing the mind to not ruminate, to move us away from where we naturally are at that first noble truth. Suffering, which is the Buddha's first talk that he gave after becoming enlightened, was that our nature is suffering. We can probably all relate to that. And if that feels too intense, our nature is dissatisfaction. We can all relate to that. And then there's the second noble truth. There's a reason for that. The third noble truth is that we can escape that suffering. And the fourth noble truth is that the way to escape it is actually the path, what I name my company for. So do we want to move away from suffering, dissatisfaction towards happiness and freedom? Heck yeah. Even business people, even finance people, everybody wants that.
Yes. Yeah. And how do you basically adapting your language towards the different people in business and tech? I assume that's how you're teaching these things, like, because the language is a big part. Like I see it for myself. I mean, I'm a scientist, I'm a physicist myself, and going into spirituality initially was like my bullshit radar, so to speak, was very, very sharp. And then also like on a similar path, like traveling to Asia and doing the meditations, I discovered it for me and discovered spirituality for me and various practices for me. But also I followed certain teachers that could tell me in a language that was very attractive to me, especially in the beginning. And then I opened up more to it. Have you observed something like this, or do you apply that as well?
Yes. Thank you, Flo. I love that question. I love you for saying that. And thank you for your background in physics. Mathieu Ricard also is a biochemist, a French biochemist, became a Buddhist monk and is one of the closest friends of the Dalai Lama now and known as the happiest man on earth. So he's actually the one, as you probably know, that photo of the fMRI machines trying to track and really quantify how meditation changes the brain. That was all done on him, a true deep scientist like yourself. So yes to that. In fact, the very first bit of advice that I give, so a little sneak preview for anyone who joins our teacher training program. Oh, by the way, it's easy to find. You can either email me, sit at thepath.com, or thepath.com/teacher. So thepath.com/teacher, very easy. So the first thing that I say in class 1, advice on how to guide, sound like yourself. Use your own language. So like you, I don't connect with the spiritual language, call it whatever you want. I don't judge it. So I'm just using these words to identify it, like the new age language, spiritual, all of that. I tell everyone, just sound like yourself. If you use simple words, I don't know if I've used one word more than 2 or 3 or 4 syllables since we started talking. If you speak with simple language, as I do, former TV reporter in me, then speak in simple language as you guide a meditation. And if you don't use language like holding space, I'm always like, what is that? Here, I'm holding space. Like, if you don't use that in your everyday language, don't use that as a teacher. And if you don't talk about your inner child every day, you don't need to talk about that in a meditation. We can teach meditation, and Jon Kabat-Zinn, the extraordinary mindfulness teacher, is still alive and teaching in the Western world now, who invented MBSR. He is saying, he just sounds like himself. he is using very simple language in a beautiful way, but there's no need to add these words that sound kind of hippie-ish or new age-ish, unless that's just how you talk. So I also gravitate to teachers like that. I was first learning from Cuenca, as many people did, and he speaks very simply as well, very clear, very simple. We can guide meditations and we can teach Buddhism, as I definitely do, and make it understandable. That's actually probably why I was so successful in the tech world. I took these kind of complex concepts and I had no idea what an API was and, all these tech terms. I was able to explain them in a simple way to people in the tech world. And I thank you. I'm blessed that I have that skill, probably as a former TV reporter in Louisville, Kentucky for many years, that I can take these complex Buddhist concepts and make them exciting and make them understandable. Why not? These are oral traditions. The Buddha wasn't writing books and going on podcasts would actually make sense, but he was just speaking, and he spoke, and then he taught a group of followers, and they spoke and taught other people. This actually wasn't recorded into what we would call the Pali Canon now in the Theravada Buddhist world that I sit in. This wasn't written down until many, many, many years later, and then actually even in a different language. The Buddha probably grew up speaking Sanskrit since he grew up in an elitist world, and he actually asked for his teachings to eventually be recorded in the Pali language, which was the language of the common people at the time.
Yeah, language is a powerful thing, because that's what we, especially when we are going through meditative states, is we're accessing the subconscious, and if there's any resistance, in my experience at least, then we are not really going there. If there's resistance towards the teacher, towards the language, towards something irritates you, you're having much more difficulties to get there. And I think that's super powerful. I mean, as Alan Watts talks about it as well, like, you got to be, the teacher somehow has to be the bridge between the person who's receiving the teaching and the teaching. Super powerful. Dina, do you want to do like a 3-4 minutes meditation right now?
Oh my gosh, thank you, Flo. I would love to. Yeah, heck yeah, let's do it. All right, so let's get into it. And if anyone is walking right now, you don't need to close your eyes unless you're in a big lavender field right now in southern France. But so if you're walking, I would just say maybe slow your pace a little bit. Can maybe look down a bit. Don't bump into anyone or traffic, but maybe have a little bit of a softer gaze. Or maybe actually you can even look up. And look up at the gargoyles or beautiful balconies or trees around you. If you are sitting, the invitation is to scooch back a little bit in your chair or cushion, whatever, or sofa, whatever you're sitting on, or forward, to try to have your back be a little bit straighter than it normally might. I would advise everyone to think about the top of your head is facing evenly up to the ceiling or the sky. Think about your chin not being too tilted up or down. As John Kabat-Zinn says, if we sit with our bodies in balance, it helps our mind to be more balanced as well. And then I invite you to allow your hands to just fall naturally wherever they lie. And the invitation is there to look ahead with a soft gaze. Or you can close your eyes, as I am doing as well. And let's begin this beautiful process of mind training. This is actually how my 12-day retreat began. Let's begin this process with what is called Anapana meditation, and focus your mind. So focus that beautiful flashlight of your attention on the sensations of the breath. And let's specifically find the breath at the nostrils. With this mindfulness of the breath meditation, we're not changing the breath in any way. We're simply focusing our attention on the sensations of the breath, specifically as the breath comes in and comes out of the nostrils. What do you feel? What do you notice? See if you can notice if the inhale feels a bit cooler, perhaps, than the exhale. Just notice with mindfulness to yourself if the inhale feels a little bit more rushed, a little bit more urgent than the more relaxed flow of the exhale or not. Can you notice a tingling sensation, perhaps at the beginning of that first sip in of the inhale? Anytime a thought, any distraction comes in, just allow that to float away like a cloud. And again, think about what the wonderful author Amisha Jha writes about. Think about that flashlight of your attention shining once again on all of the sensations of the inhale and the exhale. This is all happening in the exact present moment. Every inhale is bringing you into your actual life, this moment. Every exhale is grounding you in the reality of what is present for me exactly in this moment, in this and this of my exhale. Can you focus your mind and hold your attention on a full flow of the inhale? Or that full experience of the exhale? Sharon Salzberg will often invite us to just return. Return to the sensations of the breath. And then she'll just say, and return, and return. And when you're ready, you can stretch your arms up. You can begin to flutter your eyes open. You can stretch your legs out if that feels nice. It's so nice to meditate in community. So thank you, Flo, for that beautiful opportunity. And it was great to meditate together with you and with your community.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. So now I'm too calm for asking questions. That was good. It was really good. Very grounding. Thank you for sharing, Dina. What I'm curious about is to, like, someone, I have a lot of people in my community, in my inner circle, even of people that are new to that, new to the spiritual world. They're very into the tech world. They're very in the business world. And there's so much out there. Like every time I tell them about my meditation practices, they tell me, what type of meditation you're doing and what should I start with and so on. And I guess you've figured that out for the path. You focus on a certain type of meditations. So what would you advise someone who's very, very fresh to that whole meditation world, where to start with or how to approach this whole topic?
Yeah, so I think you start with meditation by doing it. Reading about it can give you more insight into what the heck is going on. Why is my brain changing? What is happening here? But to really experience the benefits of meditation, it's experiential. So just start. Sit comfortably in a chair or on a cushion. You just kind of want to elevate your hips a little bit above your legs if possible. You can sit on some folded towels if you want. If you're sitting on a chair, put your feet flat on the ground, or you can sit cross-legged, either way. I think it's easiest, as Gwenka would say, to do it indoors when you start, at least. And then as you get more experience, you can do it outdoors. But if you're beginning, try to do it indoors. And sit with the top of your head evenly up to the sky. Hands fall wherever you would like. And just train your brain to focus on the sensations of the breath, specifically at the nostrils, as I just did. You can use that guided meditation. You can email me, sit@thepath.com, and I can send you some guided meditations or some articles to read about how to begin. You're finding a point of focus, and you're not, so with the breath, you're not changing the breath at all. You're just training your brain to focus on the breath. You would also do it, especially if you're in a noisy environment, with the sounds in your environment. So just be open and notice all of the sounds, subtle or not. And if you lose track of your mind or a thought comes in, then just once again, open up to the sounds. And then over time, you could start to notice the sensations in the body. We have all these sensations in our body. They're kind of, we lose our attention to them with focus on other things. But as you quiet the mind, you can notice a fluttering in your calf, in the tips of your fingers, perhaps at the top of your head. So you could just sit silently. I would recommend starting without music if possible. So sit silently and notice, open up an awareness to all the sensations in the body, positive, negative, and neutral. And maybe you start with 4 minutes, start with 5 minutes, go up to 10 minutes. If you can get up to 20 minutes a day, especially 25 a day, your whole life will change. And what will happen is you'll start to have a pause between what happens to you during the day, and you'll have a pause and some space to choose how you want to respond.
Okay. And would you advise first to start with guided ones or self-guiding yourself based on what you said? And how do you, what would you advise there?
So one of my missions in life is to actually unhook people from apps. I try to spend a lot of time off my phone completely. So this idea that you need to wake up if you're meditating in the morning, you can do it really anytime except after a meal when your body is busy digesting. Find out, experiment with yourself, what's best for you. But I don't love this idea. A lot of people meditate in the morning, as I do, of having to turn on a phone and then click on an app, choose a teacher, the time, this and that. So I love this idea of learning to meditate on your own. I actually just recorded a brand new course, like breaking news, called 30 Days to Meditator, to teach you how to meditate on your own for the rest of your life in just 30 days. So it's actually half off right now, so it's not expensive at all. It's an amazing course. I'm so proud of it. It's at thepath.com/30 days. So thepath.com/30, the number days. And if you do that, literally in 30 days, you'll have a whole host of meditation techniques that you can then do on your own for the rest of your life. So I would recommend start on your own if you can, if you're up for it. Just know to start by focusing on the sensations of the breath. When your thought comes in, just let it float away. No judgment. It's mindfulness to notice the thought. And then, as Sharon Salzberg would say, return again. Return to the sensations of the breath. And you can, over time, learn to be your own best guide. You can be your own best teacher.
Mm-hmm. Have you observed, this is just out of personal curiosity, have you observed that? How do you do it actually? Are you teaching? Are you guiding us? Are you using guided? What's your practice? Are you using guided yourself, or are you guiding yourself?
No, I'm not going to tell people to do what I don't do. I have to live with some sort of integrity here. Well, come on. No, I mean, I am actually right now, I am training the teachers who lead our teacher training. I'm actually teaching soon, so I'm going to have to go really soon because I'm teaching soon because one of our teachers had a big family tragedy. But no, I will tune into my own intuition of what meditation do I want to do, and I'll do that. I'll usually start with a mindfulness of the breath, as I just guided us, so people can feel free to use that as the beginning. And right now, I'm actually training myself to just relax, to cultivate a spaciousness in my mind. I love this idea that we can shift our attention. We can shift it from that swirl of not super fun thoughts that are going on, not just in your mind, but everyone else's mind. You're not alone out there, but we can shift from that into this big feeling of spaciousness. I think of our minds, like what if your mind was as spacious as the sky in the earth. So then if one little thing is troubling, that's kind of like a little rainstorm over Dubuque or something, like one little town somewhere, but the rest of your mind can still be spacious. So I'm training myself for spaciousness. You can do that too, or you can just spend your 4, 5, 10, 20, 25 minutes focusing on the breath of the nostrils.
Beautiful. Thanks. One last question. I'd love to understand, what would you advise yourself when you were just about to, or before leaving the startup world, before you had this encounter with the panic attack? What would you advise your startup self, if you can speak to her?
That's a great question. Maybe get the heck out of there. I mean, number one, I would say, look, there's no prize for suffering in life. There's no one, I don't think, at the end of our lives that says, Flo or whoever you are out there, you win, you suffered the most. We're meant, I think finding your happiness is a friggin' superpower. Like, superpower. If you can find your happiness despite everything that's gone on in the world, it's friggin' awesome. So I was in a job where, even despite being kind of very visible in terms of that tech community and the entrepreneur world, it was not worth it. I should have left. So get out of there. Get out of a bad situation where your health is not good and you're not happy and you feel undervalued. Again, there's no prize for suffering. Get out of there. Number two, if for a reason, I kind of felt beholden to our investors, so I felt like I couldn't leave. So it was the hours and hours and hours that I was spending working, answering emails, being responsive to people I would have been much better served being more strategic and spending 20, 25 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day meditating, literally, so I could just be more strategic at my job, like literally to save me hours of time later. Maybe I didn't need to answer all of those emails. Maybe I didn't need to join all of those advisory boards and conference calls and meetings. I had just lost all strategy because I was just doing. So it would be meditate. And third, just to have more fun, like go dancing. Dance on your own if you don't have time to go to a dance party. Turn on an awesome Rihanna, Taylor Swift, Ariana, whatever your music is that you like jam out to a song and have more fun. The word enlightenment has light in it. And my mission in life is to help people live in a lighter, happier way. So if you join the path, whether it's the 30 days course, if you join us at Mela, if you join our teacher training, we are going to make it fun. Like, it's got to be fun. Let's move towards the light. So have more fun in your daily life. Like, go to an art gallery every day. If you have 30 seconds to look at a painting, look at a painting. If you have 30 seconds to rock out to Mariah Carey singing Fantasy, rock that out. Whatever is fun for you. My mom loves reading. If you have 30 seconds in your day, read a book. So I think I needed to have more fun, and I would have been a lot more mindful in that way.
Not taking things too serious. Beautiful.
No,
awesome.
also
Thank you,
literally
Dina.
have fun. Do something fun. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Dina. And any last words? Like you mentioned already, a few programs of yours. Anything you particularly you want to underline?
Yeah, I mean, I think you accelerate your meditation path by at least a year, if not more, going on retreat. So I have our Mela retreat on mine because that's coming right up. So again, that's thepath.com/Mela apply, or you can just go to thepath.com.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, great. Yeah, or email me at thepath.com. Go on retreat if you can. Like, I went knowing almost nothing, and I went to a 10-day silent gender segregated Vipassana retreat with no soap and toilet paper. Probably whatever you go on will be a little easier than that. But if you're interested in this stuff, you're never going to feel ready for a silent retreat. You're never going to feel like, oh, I'm ready for a retreat. Sometimes in life, you just got to go there, like feeling can follow action. I love that quote. So you can take the action. And if that feels too intimidating, check out 30 days, thepath.com/30 days. Or just start meditating, maybe right after this podcast, wherever you're listening. You can turn off the device and meditate for 1 minute. I would say just get started and make it fun.
That's a good challenge. So let's start with meditation after this right now. Or you can even use the one we had in the episode. Amazing. Thank you, Dina.
Thank you, Flo. This was a delight. Thank you so much.